According to Owen McCormick of the Irish Central Newsletter on October 9th of 2020, Christopher Columbus is responsible for the deaths of over 3 million native people. This is important because Christopher Columbus is seen as a national hero instead of the villain he truly was. Columbus Day should be changed to Indigenous Peoples Day. To illustrate this, we'll look at the true history of Columbus and his voyages, the mistreatment Indigenous people still face today, and how the changing of this holiday could affect our society. Christopher Columbus and his discoveries are known as some of the greatest in history, yet many don't know the full truth. Columbus never truly found anything, as Native Americans had already settled on the land. Columbus was in search for Asia, but instead found a small North American island called Hispaniola. Hispaniola is known as the Republic of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Hispaniola is the small blue outlined island. When Columbus arrived in Hispaniola, he quickly realized he was not in Asia as he had earlier suspected. However, stayed on the island because of the gold jewelry he found on some of the native people. Columbus saw the jewelry as a treasure and sent many Spaniards to mine the gold. He then traveled back to Spain to show the king and queen what he had found. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella sent Columbus back to Hispaniola in search of more gold. According to Louis Balzet of History as a Weapon on July 7th of 2020, soon after Columbus returned to Hispaniola, fighting broke out due to the unrest of the native people. After fighting broke out, Columbus wanted power over the native tribe, the Taínos. To get this power, Columbus captured 3 Taínos and beheaded them in public for all to see. This deeply enraged and disturbed the Taínos, and was also said to have had an effect on some of the local Spaniards. According to Francisco Massou via justiceinfo.net on February 3rd of 2019, the Spanish soon ran out of gold to mine, which led to the slave trade, in which Columbus seized about 500 natives and sent them back to Spain. The remaining Taínos were forced to pay tributes to the Spanish in gold. If the Spanish were not happy with the amount of gold the native brought that day, they would be harshly punished and even killed. Within the first 3 years of Spanish rule over the Taínos, 50,000 died. This led to Columbus being investigated and later charged for mistreatment of the Taínos and Spaniards on Hispaniola. Throughout our country's history, we have consistently put down the native cultures. Indigenous people in the United States are subjected to many human rights issues. According to Lee Wang on October 8th of 2021, via the prison policy invasion, the incarceration rate of Native people has jumped over 85% in 2000. As you can see here, that is a large jump. This is people in Indian countries, and it has grown 62%, and here in the United States, it is raised 85%. It hit a peak in 2014 with 91% growth. This is a startling statistic that is rarely brought up, although this is not the only challenge Indigenous people still face today, as the Indigenous are constantly losing the rights to their land and natural resources. This could cause the Indigenous culture to completely be destroyed. According to the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, via the Indigenous Peoples article, in 2021, 90% of the native language will disappear within the next 100 years. This could lead to the end of Indigenous culture as a whole, as many indigenous people are stepping away from their land and tribes in search for more and better. Celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day could bring light to the dying community. Most Americans are not aware of the struggles Indigenous face today. I believe that education is one of the greatest powers a person can hold. If a large portion of our country is well informed on the Indigenous cultures and the struggles they face today, we could create a real change. This change could positively affect millions of people who are struggling. To educate the youth would also be a large step in the right direction, as they are the future. This education could help other cultures understand what Indigenous people truly have to go through and have gone through throughout history. It would shed light on the resilience of its people, which is also very important. This this change could also lead to the government giving back the land and resources that they have taken in recent years. If given back their land and resources, Indigenous people could possibly preserve their culture and teach the next generation, instead of the culture slowly disappearing like many project to happen in the coming years. In conclusion, we should change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. To illustrate this, we looked at the true history of Christopher Columbus, the hardships Indigenous people face today, and how the changing of the holiday could positively affect society. Although we cannot change the past, we can gain from it by properly educating people and honoring those who have been affected. We can create something new.